Hello and welcome to another Beyond Budget tutorial. In this video, we will take a closer look at the forms and review an example. If you haven't seen the overview tutorial yet, I recommend you start there and get a better idea of what this tool is about before diving into this one. So there are two types of forms in this workbook. The Form L tab is for all your bank account transactions. The Form V tab is for all your rewards credit card transactions. Now, if you're not using a rewards credit card, you want to set this to no. And in this tutorial, we're going to focus on bank account transactions only. When filling out the form, remember you are trying to simulate all the transactions in and out of your bank account. The more complete and accurate the forms are, the better prepared you will be for your financial future. And a helpful hint, clicking on the heading of any section of the form will show you a description of what is expected below. You can find this throughout the entire form. So there are 7 sections to the form. We're going to walk through each one as they all have minor differences. But you want to start with the heading here. The start date will be the current date you are filling the form out on. You want to enter in the number of months you want to run the simulation for, typically 6 months to maybe 5 years. The longer you run it for, the more time it'll take to run and complete, typically between 30 seconds to a few minutes, depending on how many form entries you have in here. So you want to enter in the checking and savings account balance on the start date. So the categories that you can choose for each section of the form comes from this list tab. This is fully customizable. So for example, you would want to enter in the name of your credit cards here that you're trying to track. And you could go into more detail on shopping types if you wanted to have more information here. And the reason you want this to be accurate is because these will be used in the results, showing what categories you're spending in. So here we're looking at paychecks for Roger and Nancy. Roger's is going to be a weekly paycheck starting on Wednesday the 22nd. It's going to be applied every Wednesday. You have the option to put a yearly increase in here. So for these we have 4%, and the increase to the paycheck will be applied starting after April 12th. And every year this increase will be applied. So Nancy's check comes in bi-weekly every Thursday starting on the 23rd. Every other Thursday. Again, it's going to have a yearly increase. She also has a yearly bonus, so this is going to be applied once per year on March 25th. All right, so let's take a look at utilities. This is going to be related to your housing generally. Mortgage, gas, electricity, water. In this example, mortgage could actually go into the loans section if you wanted to, because it's kind of a fixed payment. But for, in this example, you're allowed, you have a way to kind of simulate your utility bills, which may vary throughout the year. So, a gas bill in a cold climate in the winter, it's going to increase. So here you can see that the peak date is February, and that's going to apply this high amount. And the low amount will be applied in the opposite time of the year. In this case, it's August, 6 months later. And in between, it's going to spread out the difference evenly throughout the year. Just trying to simulate a bill that varies, right? And electricity is going to be the opposite in a cold climate. It's going to peak in August as the air conditioning is running and lower in the winter. Same with water for water in the lawn. The next section is credit cards. In this section, these are the transactions that extra money will be applied to for paying off credit cards. So anything you want extra money applied to pay off quicker should go in this table here. You're going to want a minimum payment that's going to be applied at the start for every payment. And then as it calculates extra money, it'll add to that minimum payment amount. The payoff order, you can enter a custom amount and then sort smallest to largest, because the program is going to pull the top one in the list to apply extra money to first. It's going to pay them off in the order that they're listed. You can also use one of these plans here. You can pay off the highest interest rate first. The interest rate, by the way, is used in the calculation for your balance each month. You could also pay off by the lowest balance first, which is another strategy for paying off debt. Once you pay off the lowest balance quickly, or quicker, I should say, that extra money will be available to be applied to the next one, right? And it's kind of a snowball effect of more money available to pay off your debt each time one is paid off. So these three cells here are important. The minimum buffer amount is the minimum amount it's going to make sure remains in your checking account as it analyzes and moves money around. A checking account can't go below zero. So, if you don't want a buffer at all, you can set this to zero. And anytime your account goes below zero, it's going to transfer money from your savings to keep that balance above zero. I recommend a buffer amount, as, we never spend exactly as we want. There's always surprises. So it's good to have an extra amount available. 250 is pretty low, but we'll use that for this example. So the first time it runs, reviews the balances and calculates how much extra money is available. This is how the percentage is going to transfer to credit card payments. So we have it set to 60%. You could put this at 20%, or if you want all your extra money to go to credit cards, you could put it at 100%. In this example, we'll leave it at 60. After that money is applied to credit card payments, it's going to analyze again. And this is the percentage of that calculation that's going to go to your savings account. So if you don't want any to go to savings at that point, you want it to stay in checking, you can put it at zero. Let's say you want all your money to go to savings and none to go to credit cards. You would leave this at 100 and this at zero. But in this case, we're going to have 60% move to credit card payments, and then the second time it runs, all the remaining money, which is going to be about 40% that's left over, is going to go to your savings. So loans, these are fixed payments, typically monthly. There are other options, but these are car loans, personal loans, student loans, and medical bills. And if you know when it's going to be paid off, you can put an end date here. So the transaction will not be applied to the account after the end date. Subscriptions. We all have subscriptions these days, from cell phone bills and cable bills to streaming services, web services. These are typically monthly and without an end date, unless you know when it may end. Spending is where you can get creative. This is going to be your all your money that is outside of your bills, right? So you have to try to simulate your shopping trends. In this example, we're putting in a daily amount for shopping, a daily amount for food, $50 a day and $20 a day. And then we're adding a weekly amount for weekend food, right? This is going out to dinner, that type of thing. They're spending an extra $100 on the weekend. Then we have a weekly amount for groceries, a weekly amount for gas, and the rest are all yearly amounts, right? These are yearly events, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, vacations. And these are important because, when you spend this large amount, over $2,000 on a summer vacation, it'll already be in your budget. It won't be a surprise or a shock when you spend all that money. It was already in there. It was reserved for that date, and you won't feel bad spending it. So this is really helpful. But for your regular shopping, if you want to put this as a weekly allowance, you could do that. The best thing to do is to go back in your history and look at how much you spend on average and put that number in here. That's, probably the best way to do it. The last one here is transfers to and from your savings account. In this case, we wanted to move Nancy's bonus every year directly into the savings account. We don't want that money going to extra credit card payments. We want to save it. So you can see it was bonus comes into the account on March 25th, $4,000 every year, and we're going to move that directly into the savings account March 25th, $4,000 yearly. So when you have everything entered into the forms, you're going to go to the cover page, click Run All, and it's going to build your transactions table, analyze it, and move money around. So here's a look at the table. I already clicked Run on this one, so we already have the results here. You can see all the transactions in order. Checking account balance here, savings account balance here, transfers between them will be seen here, column H. See the paychecks coming in. So here's a automatic transfer. We had the buffer set at 250. It was going to go below that, so it transferred 246 from savings to keep our balance at 250. So that's how it works. Let's see. Here's the bonus coming in March 25th, and automatically it was transferred to savings, and the balances were updated accordingly. All right, so this is what is analyzed to calculate how much extra money is available. But you wouldn't typically go through transactions in this table like this. You could just go to results here. And it's going to tell you everything you need to know. Here's the extra money, where it was applied to. The dark orange is moved to credit cards, light orange is moved to savings. Tells you how much quicker your cards were paid off using this extra money. Tells you how much extra money you saved in your savings account. This table here shows you the transfers needed to keep your account above the buffer. So we only had that one transfer that I showed a minute ago, which is good. The results also include the credit card payment plan. Blue line shows how much quicker these are paid off. The red line being only with minimum payments applied, right? The spending tab shows what categories you're spending in. A nice pie chart going into all the subcategories. Total amount in and out shown at the bottom. Here's more detail on how extra money was calculated, how much went to credit cards the first time, how much went to savings the second time. When they take a look at the end, as you can see, it'll continually go down to the buffer 250 here, 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 here. So the reason it doesn't do it every month is because it's looking ahead 6 months. So it didn't move this money out in February because it knew it needed it for March, right? It looked 6 months ahead, immediately saw in March it needs that money to cover the buffer. Same case here, it needed it the next month to cover the buffer. So there's an algorithm involved in calculating the extra money to make sure you meet the buffer amount that you're looking for in your account. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and give Beyond Budget a try. Thank you for watching.